Thank you for staying so long. This is a text, I'm going to read it. It's going to take about 15 minutes. I hope you can, bear with us. This is a text in progress. It's not finished yet. I'm just trying it out, and I'm going to be accompanied by a percussion ensemble, improvised. It's a text about one of the ancient oracles, the Sibyl. The title is, Am I a mouth or am I a voice? LM, the intermediary, here performed by the Sibyl, is a prophetess whose body grows smaller with age as she withers. There are two approaches to passing time, draining or withering. If you drain, you don't wither, and if you wither, you don't drain. Her cave faces west, and it is early in the morning. Sibyl picks up an oak leaf. She starts scribbling on it. No light shines into the cave yet. Sibyl, what do you want? I want to die. Now, the leaf is covered in scripture. Sibyl looks up. It is almost noon. The sun has not arrived in her cave yet. Sibyl takes the leaf. She lays it between two perfect shards of stone. She drains it. Pressing the leaf will eventually turn it to dust. There are two approaches to passing time, draining or withering. If you drain, you don't wither. If you wither, you don't drain. In writing, time is drained of life. Draining means to deprive a thing of vitality by causing its liquid to run out. In writing, time is compressed until life evaporates, leaving nothing behind but a heap of dust. Maiden of Cumæ, choose what you wish, and you shall have your desire. I want to live as many years as there are grains of dust in my palm. That very second, it escapes me to ask for eternal youth as well. Shame on me, stupid Sibyl. I have made myself a fool, a tool. What a bad Sibyl I am. I should have foreseen it. My prophetic power fails me when it comes to myself. Phoebus says, or is it Apollo? I want to take your virginity. If you suffer my passion, I shall give you eternal youth. Let me have you, then I shall make an imprint on your memory which will stunt your cognitive and emotional development. I will possess you once, but infantilized by the sudden loss of agency, you shall attempt to reclaim personhood over and over again, ad nauseam, until you vomit. And repetition compulsion will entrap you in adolescent ideations and conserve you within a perpetual state of psychic infancy. Not merely a question of inner conflict, the skull will consist of changed anatomy and chemistry in the brain. Eternal youth in exchange for my bodily integrity. I refuse, and thus I wither. Withering means to fall into decay. Life loses its structural integrity and falls apart. In draining, time is compressed. In withering, time disperses. Draining means to remember. Withering means disintegration. Withering also means to be humiliated. Now it is a few hours past noon. A surprise for Sibyl. The sun's beams are at an angle from south to northeast. Light enters the cave through some of the openings. She takes up another leaf and continues to scribble. If I go to sleep in time, I will rise even timelier. If I lie down now, I will still get the delirium of night time, as by the time I rise, it will still be yesterday. I am my own Sibyl. I am withering. Yet if I sleep backwards, to write it all down once again, to stop the withering, to drain what is there, to make an imprint, a scattered archive of my body, now as in antiquity, writing as a vehicle to mobilize oneself, I will go to sleep and then rise and strive and wisely write myself out of demise depression. Did Virgil do the same when he used me as his mouthpiece? But here she abruptly stops scribbling. Now, the benighted reader may ask herself, what causes the Sibyl to break off at this very moment? LM, the intermediary, provides the following background information. The Sibyl refers to one of the ancient historical events that form the scattered history of her character. She functioned as Apollo's mouthpiece when guiding Aeneas through the underworld. This adventure of hers was authored by Virgil, who inserted his own voice into Sibyl's mouth, as did Apollo, as did a lot of poets. Sibyl's mouth lent itself to appropriation. A common phrase in the Greco-Roman poetic tradition was something like, I would need 100 tongues and 100 mouths to express what I want to express. Fill in the blank. This many mouths cliché was uttered by Sibyl in place of her author, a surrogate expression. The sun is beginning to set slowly, beams of light entering Sibyl's cave. She is said to have been dwelling in a mouse-like cavern with hundreds of openings, orifices in the stone. Many Latin poets created their own adaptation of the cliché of the many mouths. In fact, any poet may agree that more than a single mouth would be needed in order to express what one wants to express. Fill in the blank. When Sibyl leads Aeneas through the underworld with Apollo's voice, once again the cliché is regurgitated and brought to an extreme. Even if she had 100 tongues and 100 mouths, Sibyl would not be able to express the horrors of hell to Aeneas. Virgil's gesture uttered through Sibyl is performative, because in fact, she does have 100 mouths, none of which are her own. The text culminates in a form of masculine self-consciousness, affirming that Sibyl's mouth has been serving as a conduit for male gods to express the inexpressible. They have used her. The humiliation that lets Sibyl wither is not her own. That is the reason she stops scribbling. When one looks at the way that Sibyl is used by Virgil, one must conclude she is a mouth, not a voice. A traumatic realization, the multiplicity of narratives which form her as a character. She is a product of scattered leaves herself, a result of meta and intertextuality. So, LM allows the Sibyl to use her as a conduit, to lend Sibyl a mouth to speak of her own loss of agency. My monopolistic shame humiliation theories come into snowball and dominate my personality more and more. A single state of reactivity is managing my response to a specific class of events. I have lost my capacity to downregulate and dissipate detrimental feelings of humiliation. I am withering, let me drain, let me write, let me scribble, let me leave me a leaf to write on. Rather than getting to the bottom of the unspeakable, she prefers to speak through adinata, idioms of improbability. I would grow 100 mouths in my armpits before I would speak. I will speak when the sun sets before it has risen. 1 week with 4 Thursdays, 3 Wednesdays and 3.5 nights. When the cave stones blossom, when I hit rock bottom, chamomile, all of the rocks of my cabin. I couldn't tell you even if I had 100 tongues, 100 mouths, an iron voice. I would carry a mouth inside my stomach, between my legs, behind my legs, and run screaming without a mouth. Before I place my sorrow in your hands would grow fingers with legs on them and run next to me. When rats grow wings, when the chickens grow teeth, when teeth grow mouths, when moths grow mouths. If I had 1,000 tongues, 1,000 mouths, when poplars grow pears and peaches and plums and prunes and grapes, and no poplars except for one that is popcorn, I would speak when, why would I have spoken, wherefore, whereupon would I have spoken, whenceforth, forth cometh the form, whence the tense becometh a prediction, highly improbable outcome, speaking, when peas roll up the mountain, when it rains pocket knives, when I grow dull like an old knife, like an old wife. In the refusal to bear Apollo's passion, or was it Phoebus, Sybil attempts to find her own voice through LM. Can the Sybil write herself through LM, a woman with whom she shares both the experience of withering and that of draining? Futile to work against time passing, writing, passing one's time working against passing one's time, to drain so as not to wither. Adding their version of the many-mouthed cliché to those that came before, Sybil and LM transport themselves to the top of the poetic canon. I am the Sybil, withering with her. May LM, the intermediary, be the mouthpiece for a many-mouthed, voiceless handful of dust. As the sun sets, the cave is now dark. And both Sybil and LM, the intermediary, lay down, so as to rise all over again the next day, to drain a handful of life from time, and in writing to both invite and delay the withering, the humiliation, the voicelessness, death,